Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Still Mermaid here, and today we're diving deep into the shadows of the deep dark. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create some awesome Warden inspired banners in Minecraft. Whether you're decorating your survival base or adding that creepy touch to your ancient city builds, these banners will give off serious Warden vibes. So grab your loom, pick up your dyes, and let's get crafting. Okay, so for the first Warden inspired banner, we're going to get a plain white banner. Then you're going to use a black border indented, which is kind of like the fancy curly looking framing. Then you're going to add a black inverted chevron, which is the upside down triangle. Then a gray roundel, which is literally just a circle. Then you're going to grab the cyan base gradient. This is the gradient that starts at the bottom, so the cyan gradient's at the bottom. Then you're going to use a cyan guster and then a white flower charge. And you've got a little Warden banner. Okay, for the second Warden inspired banner, we're going to grab another white banner. Then you're going to use a black illusion. I'm not sure how to say it, but you can figure it out. You got it. Then you're going to grab a gray flower charge, which is the circle flower looking thing, then a cyan guster. Then you're going to add a black border indented, so that's that frilly looking border again. Then a light gray chief indented, which is that like little three ruffle looking things at the top. It kind of looks like teeth. And then a cyan gradient. And that's where the cyan's at the top this time, not at the bottom. Okay, so for the third banner, this one's a little bit darker. So this is still with a white banner. Then you're going to grab that black inverted chevron or that upside down triangle. Then you're going to use a cyan border indented. That's that frilly looking border again. Then you're going to use a gray roundel, so a circle. And then a cyan base gradient, so the cyan's at the bottom. Then you're going to grab a black flower charge, and then you're going to use a black base, gradient, yeah, so that's it for this one. Okay, so for the fourth banner, we're going to again use a white banner, just like we will for all of them. Then you're going to grab black dye, and you're going to use the pale pattern on the banner, so that's the straight line like in the middle of the banner. Then you're going to use cyan dye with an inverted chevron, so that's that upside down triangle. Then you're going to use the cyan dye again, but use the border indented pattern. That's the frilly looking framing. Then you're going to grab your black dye again. You're going to use that as an inverted chevron. And you might say, well, I just did that with the cyan. Why am I doing that? There still leaves a little outline of the cyan when you add the black. So make sure you add the black. It's a key piece to this. Then you're going to use a gray dye, and you're going to use the roundel pattern. And then you're going to add cyan with a base gradient to your pattern. And that's it for the fourth banner. Okay, we're on our last and final banner. So you're gonna once again take that lovely white banner that you have in your palms, and you're gonna grab some black dye. You're gonna use the pattern of the border indented, so once again, the frilly pattern looking thingy. Then you're gonna use the black dye again. You're gonna use an inverted chevron or our upside down triangle. Grab that gray dye this time. You're gonna use the roundel pattern, so that circle. And then you're gonna change out that gray dye for some cyan. Then you're gonna use a base gradient for the cyan, so the cyan's on the bottom. And then grab your white dye. For our finishing touches, you're gonna add a flower charge, and then on top of the flower charge, you're gonna use a guster. And that's it! That's our 5 Warden inspired banners. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, learned something new, and I'll see you next time. Be good people, do great things. Love you.